Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. I have Rob Braiman, Principal Managing Member of Cogent Analytics with me on the show. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael. I greatly appreciate you having me on today.
I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about some of the biggest challenges small business entrepreneurs are facing today and some of the other subtitles that lead off of that main heading that are in here that we're going to talk about. But before we do that, bring out Cogent Analytics, what they do, and then I want to dive right into that first question about the challenges that small business entrepreneurs are facing.
Absolutely. Cogent Analytics was established back in 2005. It was really just a private entity, and it was Braiman and Associates initially. I had some private clients while I was working for another firm. In 2014, I turned it from a just me doing independent to the firm that we have today. We just made the Inc. 5000 2 years in a row. We've gone from 6 employees to 117 in that 4-year period. We are a management consulting group. We do any one of a number of service offerings outside of just management consulting, from tax management, M&A work, marketing, SEO strategy, IT technology support. So I've developed a number of strategic partners around the core of Cogent Analytics to make sure that there's a holistic approach to the way we represent our clients.
Got it. Let's dive into that. Now let's start with the biggest challenges small company entrepreneurs are facing today.
If I was going to pick a singular, small business owners are always faced with the challenge of finding good talent to support scaling their company, especially in a market where unemployment is at 3.9%. Finding that right talent that can help augment your organization. And we talk about organizational engineering from a premise of how do we put the right hats on the right people, or the right people in the right chairs. But I would say that is number one, is both resourcing talents, retaining talent, and then inspiring talent to be able to become an integral portion of the core mission of your company and the culture you're trying to develop.
What is organizational engineering?
So if you think about any type of engineering, what you're essentially doing is taking a problem, breaking the problem down to its root causes, and redeveloping a solution from that breakdown to re-engineering the business into again, core people sitting in core chairs, doing the right actions with measurables and behavioral modification, along with compensatory issues that inspire people. Now, knowing that compensation is the last of the motivators, it is part of the tie-in to how you get an organically grown organization to perform at high levels.
How can small businesses attain better profitability without raising prices?
Thank you. So that's a pretty in-depth question. It starts most often for the small business owner, the entrepreneur. I've been representing small business owners for 16 years. Most often what you have is a technician running a business more than a business person learning how to manage a group of technicians. So the management of the financial operations of the company usually is tied into either Mass 90, QuickBooks, Peachtree, your good accountancy packages, but it's almost a surprise to most of our clients. They look at their financial statement as that bottom line profit number at the end of the month. So it's like they have a birthday, a boo-hoo or a woo-hoo every month to figure out, they don't look at the entirety of their financial statement and the impact and the decisions that they're making operationally. All they're looking to see is whether they made or lost money, and they might go to their balance sheet from time to time to understand that they have money in the bank. Now, if you're really going to manage profitability, if you're going to get into profit engineering, now you're talking about managing direct costs, whether that be labor costs, material costs, support to your direct costs in the form of an indirect or a semi-variable. And I don't want to get too technical in today's discussion, but really financial management and understanding what those costs are and how you maximize those opportunities, both from a business development strategy and then being able to consummate what you're selling in the form of operational deliverables, so that the small business owner has full control over from the point he sells it to the point he delivers it in market and manages the profitability throughout the transaction as opposed to an end game strategy.
Good explanation to the question. How have you achieved fast growth in your company? You talked about the numbers which were dramatic. I wanted to hear how you did it.
So I'm most people would describe me as the Energizer Bunny.
Okay.
I'm an ex-military guy, became entrepreneur, became analyst, who became entrepreneur again. So this is my fourth endeavor of building a company. One could argue that at the age of 51, almost 52 years old, there was a lot of lessons learned, although I did it successfully the first 3 times. Most of what I've done today is both learning from the 15 or 1,800 companies that I personally represented and learning what not to do as much as what you learn what to do, and then really focusing on best practices. But I would say the number one implication for Cogent Analytics is surrounding myself with good talent. And we get back to that organizational engineering piece. I started with my core directorship. Some of the people I have changed in that core directorship as I've developed Cogent Analytics. But most often I have strategically positioned each one of my directors in a role, and then there was complete agreement from that director and myself on how we were going to execute the plan. So plan first, get agreement on the plan from your key directorship, hire strategically, and then our go-to-market strategy has been, albeit it sounds very aggressive, has been somewhat conservative over the last 4.5 years. I actually find myself holding the reins back on Cogent Analytics. We're in 22 states now. The objective is to be at 50 states by the end of 2022. It has been an adventure of human resource management since the day we've opened the door. And that's really, I think, what is key to our success is the ability to attract and develop good talent. But more importantly, the systems that we've developed in our company are designed in client support. So we drink our own Kool-Aid. I would not give a client advice that we would not embrace as a strategy for Cogent Analytics. And I think our success is a flag or a watermark for other clients to learn from.
I think that helps answer the next question was how did you and how do you grow your leadership team? Is there any more you want to add on that topic before we move on?
So even when I have a leader, and Mike, this will be difficult for most of our watchers today. Even when I have a good leader in a place, most often when you're going to build a great organization, good does not define great. So as I continue to develop my leadership team, I am always challenging them to ascend in their career, because as we grow, their responsibility of leadership continues to grow. And any company is faced most often with that really tough choice of, I have a leader, I like my leader, he's in a good position, but then my company outgrows my leader. Now, it doesn't happen to us very often. It has happened a couple of times. The key is to recognize that as you continue to grow, that the current leader that you may have in place, if you're resistant to take a hard, long look at whether you've got the right people in the right chairs and always looking to augment your senior staff, your company will get capped out based on the sole vision of the owner as opposed to the full vision of the team, which is optimal in an organically grown organization. So you have to be willing to change those chairs. It's like building a Super Bowl team, right? You can't always have that player always playing quarterback unless, of course, you've got Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. Most of those careers don't last for 20 years.
I got it. Is that one of the main points on the difficulty and the resistance that you face with your clients and they're faced with necessary changes they need to address?
We do a discovery process with every client. That gives us an opportunity to do a holistic view. And we've done thousands at this point representing the American small business owner, which is really my passion. But one of the fundamental things that we see in representing the small business owner is people get stuck, right? They'll grow their company. There are natural break points in growth or transitions in a company. Sometimes it's a generational shift. Sometimes it's a leadership shift. But a company will grow to $3 million, and then you'll see it stagnate at that $3 million level for an extended period of time, very protracted, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 8 years. And a like type organization with a little shift in the way you think, offers prospect to new opportunity, because you have to be aware of that capping of your organization, because usually that definition is the owner really has not figured out how to dole out those responsibilities throughout his company. And it happens at $3 million, usually somewhere between $5 and $10 million. And then from 10 to about 20 or $30 million, those same break points or shift behaviorals that you see are commonplace. So what we do is we go into the organization and we start doing an organizational review. First, it starts with a financial review, a performance review, an organization review, an operational review, a business development review. And we do that typically on a 3 to 5 day basis, which gives us as a team a chance to really what we call peeling the onion, right? Sometimes, and you'll have to excuse my colloquialisms, but sometimes it's a sweet Vidalia that you can eat like an apple, and sometimes it's a cherry red, right? Where you're cutting it on the cutting board and you start crying. And that's true for small business owners, right? So we try to get them back from the cherry red up to the sweet Vidalia, because that stagnation of a company, you have key metrics that you look at as an analyst, and you look for those performance opportunities that you can capitalize on behalf of our clients, because what we want is to represent people that are looking forward. They're aspirational. They're hoping to, because and I'm sorry to ADD on you, but a small business owner, entrepreneur in America today, they've invested usually their life in their company. Most often their family is vested in the company. The impact of their kids' education is in their company. Their own retirement is in their company. So we try to teach equity value as the largest investment in an entrepreneur's life, and then being able to maximize that opportunity without the business owning them. The key is their responsibility is to own that business, be a good leader, set the vision and culture, and be able to foster growth, which is in their best interest and that of their people.
Well
Hope that was an answer
Yes,
that covered the base.
It does. It covers it very well. What makes Cogent Analytics different from any other consulting firm?
I was in the industry for about 11 years prior to starting Cogent Analytics. And one of the big things that I'm trying to disrupt in this industry is most often consultancies, they go in, they give good advice, it ends up on a binder sitting on the back shelf that nobody touches. We try to have a client-based relationship instead of a project-based relationship, where we're maintaining that relationship ongoing, the idea and that life cycle of the client. Even when we implement change, we know that clients are going to digress. So we do post support from every project or client that we choose to represent. We do post support weekly, and then bi-monthly, and then bi-monthly, and then we're boots back on the ground, tightening down the screws and making sure that there's durable change that is occurring on behalf of our clients. Because most often people will digress to a position of comfort. Change is uncomfortable. And what I don't want to see from our clients is we do 100% of the work and they take away 40% of it, or 30% of it, or 20% of it. 6 months down the line, they shouldn't be using half of what we help them implement. They should be using 100% of what we implemented with them. That's where that real key is in my vision, in my team's vision. That every member of this firm looks to establish that relationship with a client where we're forward looking, and we understand that our obligation is to support that client in our life cycle process. And I find that to be a bit of a disruptor, comparatively speaking, to most consultancies I'm familiar with.
I agree, it is. And I talk to a lot of people throughout the week, and I agree it is. We're out of time right now, but Rob, I can see that you've got insights into the processes that you go through with all the companies that come through your doors that you help. And maybe in the future you can come back and give us little tidbits of, this is what we learned in this situation, and this is something that most people are going to be dealing with, and drop those pearls of wisdom on us from time to time.
Mike, it would be a privilege. We get an opportunity to do a multiple case studies every single week in the existence of Cogent Analytics. And that, if that is helpful to other entrepreneurs, the whole purpose of my participation here is to give that information out to hopefully inspire people to self-reflect. So if I can service that in support of this endeavor, I would be more than happy to, sir.
Absolutely. Don't hang up. I'm going to say goodbye to our audience, but I'm going to talk to you after the segment, okay?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right. Thanks for watching CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.